Make sure everybody can hear me. So press 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Hello, hello, mic check. Can y'all hear me in the chat? Hello? Can y'all hear me? Okay, y'all can hear me? All right, cool. How does it sound? Do I sound far away, close up? Let me get a mic check right fast. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? All right, let me see who we got in the building. All things, what's up? Skills from New Orleans, what's going on? Let's see, Mr. Greg in the building, what's up? H Money, what's good? Hey, boost, he is hilarious. Noble Young in the building, what's going on? Ariana, what's up? How y'all doing tonight? thanks everybody for joining me tonight on the live. You know I'm live every Sunday. Thinking about doing a later show versus an earlier show. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do yet. Just trying different times to see how it works out. Dragon Assassin in the building. What's going on? Got a couple of topics we're gonna cover tonight. Just run through some topics that have been going on through the week, and I'm gonna drop my 2 cents. And you know everybody can drop their 2 cents to see how it's going. Give me one. All right. So let's see what we got first up. Okay, this is what I think I'm gonna do. How we gonna try to run it tonight? I'm gonna talk about a topic. I'm gonna give my 2 cents about it. Then I'm gonna drop the link, and I'm gonna let people come up one by one and give their 2 cents on the topic if they have something to say. So the first topic we got for the night is going to be. Let's see. The PBC card coming up on the 30th. We got the PBC card coming up on the 30th. It's going to be 4 title fights. You got Julio Cesar Martinez versus Cordova for a world title. You got Erislandy Lara and Michael Zarafa for a world title. And then as the co-main event, you got Rolando Romero and Issa Cruz, which I think is going to be a good fight. It's a lot of people looking forward to that fight. It's a lot of people been talking about that fight, and they was actually saying when they found out that Tim Tszyu had stepped out that they should move that card up and make it the main card. So that's obviously a pretty big fight. Who y'all got in that fight? Let me know who y'all got in that fight. I think Rolly is going to be able to pull it off. I think he's going to come in fighting better than people think. I do think that Rolly came in fighting Tank better than people thought he would fight Tank. At least I know he did. He fought better than I thought he did. But the question was, did he fight better, or was Tank kind of just setting him up the whole fight? Kind of in the back of my mind, and just trying to walk him into something. But Issa Cruz, I've only seen him have 1 year come forward throwing hooks. So I don't know if he's going to come in the ring with something different. But I do know that his last performance, I think it was his last performance against Cabrera, it didn't look too good. I actually thought he got outboxed and lost that fight. But, I believe he got gifted a win. So we just gonna have to see how good he does against Rolly. Who y'all got in the chat? Chat. Who y'all got? Y'all got Rolly. Y'all got Issa Cruz. Who y'all putting y'all money on? And then we got no longer have Tim Tszyu, but we got. We got Tim Tszyu versus Fundora. We no longer have Thurman in the fight. He popped the bicep, and I believe that's a pretty serious injury. I think it's like 4 to 6 months recovery. He have to have surgery. So I'm not even sure if we're ever going to see Thurman. I'm not sure if Thurman will be back, man. Originally when I thought about the fight, I was like, okay, I think it'll be a decent fight. I did think that Thurman had the ability to beat Tim Tszyu. My only issue was the inactivity. The inactivity from Thurman. He was moving up weight classes, and I believe that all that would have worked against him in that fight, especially considering how active Tim Tszyu has been. Now, I do believe Fundora has a chance to win this fight. I actually like Fundora. The first time I ever seen Fundora fight, he was on the undercard of the Danny Garcia Errol Spence fight. I actually went to that fight and seen it in person. And I could not believe, I'm like, man, that dude is tall. And he reminded me a lot of my son because my son is tall and he boxes. And so he's tall and skinny, actually. He's built just like Fundora. He's not 6'7", but he's pretty tall. And I seen him fight, and I was like, wow, this guy's a pretty good fighter. But I thought it was weird that he was an inside fighter and he took away his main advantage, which was his arm reach. I think he got an 84, 83-inch arm reach or something like that. And so I thought it was weird that he fought on the inside like that. But Fundora's a good fighter. I know against the fight against Mendoza, he made a mistake and ended up getting caught and getting knocked down. But I really think that this will be a very challenging fight for Tim Tszyu. Now, my only issue with Fundora, my question is it a challenging fight for Fundora? Are they really trying to give Fundora a shot at these two belts? Or are they feeding Fundora to Tim Tszyu? Because Fundora's coming off a long layoff, and he's also coming off a knockout loss. So I don't know. I don't know, but I do believe that Fundora will be ready for this fight. He knows it's a big opportunity for him to get these two belts. He's been waiting on a shot like this, and that's my thing. Like, that's my biggest. To be honest with y'all, like that's my biggest issue with the PBC is that when these fighters get like the opportunities of their career or get a shot at things, it seems like they're coming into these situations at disadvantages. Like, you had Jamel Charlo, he had the opportunity to fight Canelo, long layoff, injury. You had Errol Spence, he finally had the opportunity to fight Terrence Crawford, injury, long layoff. And I don't know what is up with that. Like I'm starting to see a pattern of that with the PBC, and I don't like it. I mean, I'm be honest with y'all, I don't like it. But if Fundora is able to pull the victory off of Tim Tszyu, because I feel like there's a lot of people writing Fundora off, and they just like, oh, Crawford and Tim Tszyu gonna be next. Crawford and Tim Tszyu gonna be next. So my question to y'all is, if Fundora beats Tim Tszyu, could this be the biggest upset of 2024? Would this be the biggest upset of 2024? Realistic Washington fan, how's it going? Guys, if you're in the chat, make sure you punch that like button. And please make sure you punch that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. So what do you all think? I'm going to drop the link. And if you're interested in coming up and dropping your 2 cents about the topic, then you can come up and let me know. Would this be the biggest upset? Come on, what the comments say? Would this be the biggest? Could this be the biggest, one of the biggest upsets, or the biggest upset so far of 2024 if Fundora stops Tim Tszyu? Now, my 2 cents is I don't think that it'll be that big of a quote unquote upset, because I do think that Fundora has a realistic chance of beating Tim Tszyu. Like, I feel like it's a pretty evenly matched fight for the most part, and I feel like if Fundora win, he win. I don't see it being that big of an upset. It's not like Fundora no scrub. It's not like Fundora hasn't put in work. But I don't know. Let me know. Anybody want to come up here and drop their 2 cents about the Tim Tszyu Fundora fight? You can click the link below. You come up here for about 2 minutes and drop your things on that. But how do you see Tim Tszyu winning this fight against Fundora? Tim Tszyu's a pretty basic, straight, come forward fighter. He has a little pop on his punches, but I mean, Fundora's a pretty good fighter. He fights on the inside. He has some power. Now, he doesn't have too much power. He doesn't really have knockout power. He's more of a accumulation type puncher, where he kind of wears you down as the fight goes down. But part of me really wants Fundora to get these 2 belts. Part of me really wants Fundora to get these 2 belts. But like I said, I just don't like how the opportunities for these fighters come in opportune times. It's just, I really don't think it's fair. Mr. Greg, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? How are you today?
I'm doing.
That's good. Is my sound messed up?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, because I'm in my pajamas, so I don't want to be on camera.
Yeah, we on the late night Sunday boxing talk. So you want to give your
Yeah,
2 cents about the Fundora fight?
listen, I think it's going to be somewhat of an upset because I don't think Fundora is expected to win. I think he's getting a good opportunity, though. I hope he's mentally and physically prepared for whatever the challenge may be for him. If the reminder that he has been knocked out is in his head, he needs to address that in the ring, and and maybe press Tim a little. Um, well, I wouldn't even say a little. I say I think a lot if he could, and take the challenge. Use that height and I think the length that he has could get him to fight, but I don't think he's expected to win. So that's why I see it as a. I don't see it as like a huge upset, but it's somewhat of an upset because Tim Zoo is coming up. You're starting to hear his name a lot more. He's in the conversation at least for the next fight for either with a fight for either Spence or Bud. So I don't think nobody's thinking Bud Fandor or Spence Fandor, but they are have been talking Tim Zoo. So I think that's going to be somewhat of a it'll be a nice upset if he wins, and I think.
Well, I think the only reason why it would be, and what one thing I do like though is that
Hmm.
Fundora was already trained. He was already on the card. But I don't like the long layoff, and I don't like the coming off a knockoff loss to fighting for a unified championship. Like I don't like that. But at least he was already training on the undercard. But I
Hmm.
don't know if these people know Fundora or have seen him fight. But I don't think it'll be too much of a upset, so to speak. Maybe an upset because they are building Tim Zoo,
Hmm.
and it's a lot of people expecting him to fight Crawford next.
Right.
So I think that would be the upset part. But as far as him winning, I don't think it'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Fundora beat Tim Zoo. I don't think it'll be that type of
I don't
upset.
think it'll be that stunning, but I think it'll be an upset because that's not what people are looking for to have happen, and that's not what they're looking for the future for Tim Zoo to have to come off a loss like that. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward more so to Rolly's fight with Cruz than I am with the Zoo Ventura fight. I'm just looking to see a fun fight, and I think that would be a fun fight.
Oh, the Roly pick, that fight, it could have been a main event in itself. But I
It's
think that
mm,
Fundora stepping in for Thurman makes this an even better card because nobody was expecting Thurman to win. Of course, everybody wanted to see Thurman fight, but
mm,
nobody was expecting Thurman to be that competitive or to win because of his inactivity, he coming up a weight class, and his age.
yeah, I think I kind of feel for Thurman. I don't know how he ended up with all these long layoffs and things of that nature, but for the most part, I think this probably is going to be the end for him. You might end up being a gatekeeper or somebody give somebody
Oh,
some.
he was already a gatekeeper. He just didn't want to admit it. He was already.
Yeah, I kind of feel for him because that injury, if that injury that is what it say it is, it's always going to be to me a little bit more. It takes longer to heal the older you are.
Yes.
And if you have been breaking your body down with training and building it back up over your, 20 or 15-year period, and did you have these long layoffs, and then you got to go up and carry some extra body mass, weight, muscle, and then you injure yourself like that. Yeah, I think it's going to take longer than 4 months. And I tend to think this may, for all practical purposes, be the end for him, at least at the very top.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna hop on to the next topic, which is Bud Crawford says he wants the winner of Tim Zoo and Fundora for the unified championship belt. Now, There are plenty of people I feel like that Crawford could still fight. Um, I still want to see him fight the Jamel fight. Um, I still want to see the Spence rematch, contrary to popular belief. But I want to know how the chat feels about Bud Crawford petitioning for this next fight. Is it he going for greatness, or does he just have a good strategy in place? I
I
just
think it's a
want
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead.
I think it's sort of a combination. I mean, he's at the end. To me, Bud is at the end of his career. I never thought he had no more than about two fights left, and I would love to have seen him fight Charlo, and I had no problems even with a rematch at 154 with or 147 with Spence. But for the most part, I think he got maybe two fights, maybe three, but I think it's going to be two. The strategy and all the machinations, not just on his side, but throughout boxing, is making it very frustrating to see these fights or to wait for these fights to actually get made and then happen. That's the most frustrating thing about it because I think both. I understand, with Spence being hurt and out and all that kind of stuff. And I also understand why Bud went and petitioned and make sure he was a mandatory at 154. He's
Now
in.
this
Hmm?
was my thing though. It was like I feel like once fighters get to the point where they're like, "Oh, I'm chasing the bag," then because I sat here and I was like, what is it about Crawford that really just kind of like makes me be like, damn, this dude is tripping. Like, he's a great fighter, he has great skills. Like none of that is the problem. And I realized is that Crawford never gives the fans the fights that they view would be competitive. He never fights the people where we're like, oh, okay, we want to see Crawford fight this person. We think that'll be a good fight. He doesn't fight those people. I mean, he finally fought Errol Spence, but other than that, like we never seen him fight the Charlo. We never seen him fight. He eventually fought Sean Porter, but I feel like that was too late. Porter had been out the ring for so long. We never seen him fight Danny Garcia. We never see we probably not gonna see him fight Boots. And these are the people that the fans are asking you to fight because we perceive those to be very competitive fights. Even if you feel like, or your fan base is like, oh no, he would beat him easily. Like, let's see it because that's what we're perceiving as a competitive fight. So I feel like once you're to the point where you're now above the bells, you've created your legacy, you've done all this, and you want to fight for the bag, then your interest should be more in giving the fans the fights that they're asking for.
I think the fight. It's not just the. It's never just the fighter though. It's always the other. It's not just the fighters. It's also those who are going to finance the fight. It's those who got to get a piece of whatever revenue is going to be generated. It's still the business of boxing still plays a major role in the fights that happen, or the ones that don't, or the ones that take forever. I do understand some fighters can be difficult, but it's never just the fighter. Um, in the time where PBC had all the major or the top welterweights except Crawford when he was over at top rank, that was a really difficult time because you saw those guys over there fighting each other because those fights were easy to make. The issues with Bob Arum and PBC and Al Heyman and so forth and so on. That always plays a role in why those fights don't happen. Even the fight with Thurman, I think it only happened because the WBO made did I say Thurman Porter? I'm sorry, made Porter a mandatory. I think that's the only reason why that fight really happened. Crawford, one of his complaints about Bob Aaron, even though Bob Aaron was giving him guaranteed money, and I understand how you can kind of stay with that for a minute, but saying that Bob wasn't getting him the fights, and part of that was true. But that's because Bob and Al Heyman weren't always going to be on the same page, and it probably wasn't enough money for that could be generated for them to set aside their differences. So whenever time I see fighters not fighting, and I see that they're good fighters like Crawford, he's not fighting the guys I wish he could have fought. I understand, and it's just frustrating that it's not just because of him. There's also a lot of other elements involved, and that kind of has hurt boxing in the last 10 years to me. There's a lot of
Yeah,
money that's there,
right.
but everybody's not getting it. Everybody's not getting a piece of the pie that they should. Everybody want a bigger piece of the pie. So that means less fights get made because there's less money. And the same token, that philosophy that used to dominate the sport of the best fighting the best. I don't care if I done lost once or twice. I'm still ready to get back in the ring in 4 months after the last fight, et cetera, et cetera. All of that philosophy is kind of just talk now. You don't see it actually happening. You don't see guys going out there and really want to sell out. If I get knocked out, I just get knocked out. But they're gonna show. I'm gonna show them everything I got in this ring tonight, and that gets fans excited. So you can overlook. I mean, look. You look at a guy like Arturo Gotti. You know what he was going to do. I mean, you didn't have to really be that skill, but you knew he was going to go out there and do his thing.
Yeah, well,
Win, lose, or
I mean,
draw.
he's with the PBC, all the
Mhm.
54 pounders. I mean, all the 47 pounders that he didn't get to fight at 47. They're definitely available at 54. Um, so I do think he has an opportunity to fight him. But I mean, if he can fight the winner of Fundora Zoo, and I really hope Fundora wins, because I believe a Fundora Crawford fight will be a very interesting fight because Fundora fights on the inside, and Crawford's not an inside fighter.
Isn't
So
Fendor about the same height as Postal?
Fundora's 6'7".
Oh no, he's not the same. He's much taller. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he's like an NBA player size, so he's like
Yeah.
6'7". But I mean, even for Crawford to go up, get two belts, be a four-division champion, I mean, that just add to his legacy. And hey, it is what it is. And if Spence come back, which man, I don't even know what's going on with Earl Spence. It's a lot of people saying he left Eric James, but I'm gonna get into that into another segment. Right
Hmm.
now, I wanted to play this interview that I watched with Leonard Ellaby and kind of give my 2 cents on that. So let's listen to
was
it.
announced.
Can y'all hear it?
I know a lot of people
Yeah.
wanted it to be David Benavidez, but if you look at it, to take that aside and you look at Jaime Munguia, Jaime Munguia is going to come to fight. He's going to give him a good fight. Given that though, there was a lot of maybe misinformation, bad narratives that Canelo left PBC and all that stuff. What do you make of all the information that was put out there with PBC's running out of money, that they're going out of business? I know you've been hearing it for years also.
Yeah, you just got to take it from the source. Where whoever's putting this information out, let's take it from the source. I mean, we're running a business and making the biggest fights that are possible in the entire sports. PBC has been putting on the biggest fights for quite some time. And that's what the focus is. To be honest, I don't really pay any of that stuff any attention. I have a fun once in a while going on Twitter.
You get wild on Twitter,
Yeah, I like to have fun back and forth with some of the fans. But when you're running a business at the highest level, you don't really have time to really think about people who've never ever done anything in boxing, much less talking about at the highest level. So you don't really kind of give it that kind of energy where it consumes you. People are going to say what they want to say. They're entitled to their opinion, and it really doesn't matter. We're on to the next.
Given this fight, how do you see it with Jaime? Does Jaime have a good shot at beating Canelo?
No,
Not at all.
no, he's getting knocked out.
He's getting knocked out.
He's getting knocked out.
Damn. All right.
So, Chad, I want to ask y'all, Jaime Munguia, Canelo, how do you all see the fight going? And another thing I want to mention about what Leonard said was like, let's stop. I don't. There should be no more PBC going out of business. They running out of money. Like I believe that rumor should be dead. Like that rumor should not be able to start up no more. Like they've literally been saying PBC is going out of business since they started, and I don't know why people keep believing these rumors. I remember when I first started watching boxing, and they used to be like, man, PBC going out of business. I'd be like, I like PBC. They got all the good fighters, and maybe for about 2 years, I used to be like, damn, they going out of business. And then eventually I realized, like, this is crazy. Like, why do they keep saying this? And here we are. I'm finally fully understanding how things work and how things are going on. And these people are still saying PBC is going out of business. We went from PBC going out of business to them getting a deal with the biggest streaming platform on the planet. So let's just stop with the PBC going out of business rumors. And
that's never gonna stop too. It's those who just genuinely dislike either a promotion company or a fighter. They're gonna always put out negative narratives regardless. We just have to ignore it. It doesn't matter how you might feel about any of the fighters or the promoters. The PBC going out of business crap has never, to me, been legitimate. I mean,
PBC the only one that's ever going out of business.
Yeah, because they the one who's forced to change in the boxing lands financially. Fighters started getting money up. A lot of the fighters was getting, it was a handful of fighters getting money for a while, but with the emergence of PBC, like I said, I'll criticize any promoter, but I also give them their props. And Heyman was getting these fighters money, and we talked about fighters who never saw $1 million payday were now getting them. And that forced the other people in the business, the other promoters in the business, to start having to, they didn't want to, but they had to if they was going to keep their fighters on their side of the table. So
remind me, let me gonna get through the venue, but remind me to say something about that later, because I think it's weird that Al Heyman was destroying boxing, but Saudi Arabia is saving boxing. But okay, here we go.
How do you see it? No doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Canelo has way too much experience for him. He's never seen nothing like that. He has 1 or 2, I guess, good wins. Who did he beat?
That's a good point. Well, the last fight, Ryder, I think that's what kind of helped his case to get the fight, because he dispatched of Ryder in a way that Canelo couldn't. He stopped him and he went 12 rounds with Canelo. But look, Derevyanchenko almost had him out.
Yeah, he's a solid fighter. I mean, just think about this. 3 fights ago, were we even talking about this? We would probably been kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I give him and Roach a lot of credit. They've been doing exactly what they need to do to put themselves in a position like this. And so you got to give them credit for stepping up. It's a huge fight for the Mexican fan base. They're really going to be riled up. I'm really looking forward to that. 2 Mexicans going at it on Cinco de Mayo. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great fight for as long as it lasts.
For you being there on Tuesday, and I know Oscar did an interview with us where he said some things that at the beginning the negotiation was a little difficult. Are you guys at a point where you can work with like a Golden Boy, and despite the past, you guys can set aside and make these fights happen?
Well, that was always the case. Yeah. If a fight makes sense, you can make the fight. Oscar's just a clown, and everyone knows that. And that's why nobody deals with him. Eric got the utmost respect for him. He's a trooper. He's a soldier. He's very knowledgeable. He's been running the company for a number of years, since Schaefer's been gone. Yeah.
It seemed like Canelo was a little bothered that like Oscar was even on.
Now, let me address that real quick, what LRB just said. Marquis, what's up? Yamir, what's going on? Teach in the building. How y'all doing tonight? Look, make sure y'all punch that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And what LRB just said about Oscar being the clown and how nobody want to work with him. I want to give my 2 cents about that real quick because, in my personal opinion, Oscar is messing up the Devin Haney fight. Now, yes, Ryan's been tripping, and everybody's saying that it's Ryan is going to be Ryan fault if the fight don't sell, but I don't necessarily believe that because Ryan's antics and the way Ryan has been acting, I feel like it could go either way. It could either make people want to buy the fight to see if he's able to perform or if he's going to fail, because people love to see if you're going to be able to pull through and overcome adversity. That's my belief. Or it could go the opposite way. You could say, "Oh, people not gonna want to watch this fight." But I think that's more so hardcore fans that feel that way versus the casual fans. And we do know that Ryan has a big casual fan base. Now, the reason why I say Oscar is not doing very well with this fight is because even before Ryan started tripping, you heard a lot of people saying, why are they fighting in New York when their fan base, both of them, is located in California? Then you heard people saying, why is the fight only pay-per-view in the United States? And then it was, why are the ticket prices so high for this fight? So those 3 things alone don't include Ryan. And I know people felt some type of way about Ryan coming out and saying, oh, the ticket's too high and this and that. But that could have also made people feel like, oh, well, Ryan's for the people. Like, he wants the people to be able to afford the fight. And also on top of all of that, we still don't know what the undercard is for the fight. And so I just feel like if this fight doesn't do well, Ryan will be scapegoated for the fight not doing well. But I believe it's on Oscar. Even Eddie Hearn don't want no parts of this fight. You haven't heard Eddie Hearn when all this started. He said, "Man, he washed his hand. I don't got nothing to do with that." Even Eddie Hearn was like, "I don't have nothing to do with that." And I'm wondering if it's because of what Ellerby is saying. Like, nobody likes Oscar. Nobody wants to work with Oscar. Even at the press conference, you seen Canelo have an attitude with Oscar up there. I ain't never seen Canelo acting like that. So I don't think Oscar's that great of a promoter. And I don't think Oscar knows how to handle big cards and big fights. I really feel like he's dropping the ball on this Devin Haney fight. But let's see what else Ellerby had to say.
Like I noticed that, and I asked him, and he's like, I don't like him. And I'm like, okay, I
Why would he like him? Why would he like him? He's a great fighter, but he's a horrible, horrible person.
Why? Fans watching this would be like, well, why does Leonard feel this way? Like, I've been covering the sport. I know the relationship, but they're going to be
history will tell you everything you need to know about him. Everything is I, me. Look what I done. Look what I did. Look what I did. You ain't did shit. Props to his company. They've been involved in some big fights, but him personally, he wants to take all the credit for everything. Great fighter, but a horrible, horrible person.
The idea of a Canelo Benavidez fight, knowing how the business of boxing works. Canelo made a comment that, hey, someone offers me 150, 200 million, I'll take the fight, the neck, like as soon as possible. I don't know. On one side, it got me thinking, is he trying to build this up like your man Floyd and Manny to a point where like this fight is so big now that it has to happen? Or is it something else? You, with perspective, how do you see that situation?
Well, one thing I do know is that Canelo and Eddie Reynoso are very, very smart, savvy businessmen.
Oh, I learned from you guys.
Yeah, that's a fact. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. He knows what he's doing, and I can tell the fan, look into the camera and tell the fans, Canelo Alvarez is not scared of David Benavidez. That's not true. That's not true.
Well, Chad, let me know what y'all think. Do you think, I definitely have a segment about that, Canelo with the 200 mil, but do you all think, I want to read your comments before I talk about it, that Canelo Alvarez is actually ducking and afraid to fight David Benavidez? Let me know and drop your 2 cents in the comments.
No matter what the perception looks like, that man ain't scared. The fighters fight. Again, he knows what he's doing. Again, is that I think when they fight, it's going to be a terrific fight. It's going to, at that point in time, it'll be the biggest fight in all of boxing.
So you're confident it does happen?
I wouldn't say confident, but I think it happens.
So in your position, from a business perspective, why hasn't it happened now? Do you think if we wait a little bit longer, it can get to a higher monetary value? Do you think that's really what it is?
Well, with these kind of fights at this level, it's just patience. And I know everybody wants everything right now, and it should have happened. I mean, I've seen this movie before.
I know.
Things don't happen when the media and the fans want them to happen for a number of reasons.
Now, this part right here, I think he may be taking some subliminal shots. I want y'all to listen and let me know what you think. Rick Timms, what up? Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you punch that like and subscribe button if you haven't already.
And actually, I was reading something, I don't know if it was on your site, where someone was saying something about along the lines of Canelo might have felt disrespected or something. I don't know, because I really don't know the backstory on the back and forth with them.
Yeah, people have said that maybe that's a reason, because they've been a little aggressive on the Benavidez side, where like he feels like, hey, I don't know you guys anything, and the way they've gone about getting the fight.
Well,
now let me get my 2 cents about that real quick. As far as fighters being quote unquote disrespectful, and now you don't want to fight them. I can't think of anything that Benavidez, or his father for that matter, has really said that was disrespectful to Canelo. And we're in a combat competitive sport. I mean, what constitutes as disrespectful? Calling you out, saying I want to fight you, saying what's up, saying let's do this, saying you don't want to fight me. I mean, first of all, those are ways that you build a fight. And second of all, I mean, what am I supposed to say? It's a fight. Like, this whole, to me, that's just an excuse to not fight somebody. Oh, I don't want to fight him because he was disrespectful. Now I get it, because if you do fight me, I will be putting money in your pocket. But we gotta kind of figure out what actually is disrespect in the boxing world. I can't think of. Let me know, Chad. Can y'all, Mr. Greg, can you think of anything that Benavidez has said to Canelo that was disrespectful?
I don't think he said anything that's disrespectful. I think this is just a strategy that's frustrating everybody, to be quite honest, in terms of that fight happening. I kind of feel a lot of the things that Ellaby has said, even about Oscar, I think he's spot on. I'll start with what we just talking about. I think that fight with Canelo and Benavidez probably will happen. I just believe that for whatever reason, there's some sort of strategy that's being employed by Canelo before they get to talking and actually making the fight happen. I think he beats Jaime Munguia pretty easily. I can't think of anything that Jaime has done that makes me believe that he's going to give Canelo a serious challenge, because I think he was mismanaged in the first place himself by Golden Boy. Moving all the way to Oscar. Oscar has been a great fighter in many ways, but he has always been very bad on the business side. Luckily, he had Richard Schaefer, even though Richard Schaefer, betrayed him a little bit. And now Gomez, I can't think of his first name. They've kept that company intact at least. But Oscar mismanaged his image in a way where Golden Boy should have been a superpower, and Oscar should have really learned and transitioned away from, as Litter was saying, me, I, into a prolific promoter and businessman. Golden Boy should have been great. I mean, they was on the way to that, but Oscar distracted with his own shenanigans. And I think Leonard said once before, he was asleep at the wheel, which he was. He woke up and all his fighters over at PBC.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so Leonard is really spot on what he's saying. He's not taking shots at Oscar. He's stating some things that are very true. I don't know whether Oscar is a horrible person. I know he's a horrible businessman right now, and he's just been fortunate that he had a few people who could keep that company really going, and they've made some money. But all the big fights that Golden Boy, and I'm wondering who is now this Golden Boy in charge of the fight between Fundora and Tim Zoo?
No, that's PBC.
Oh, that's PBC. So Oscar got who? He got Mugia.
He got Munguia and he got Ryan Garcia and
Right, right.
he has another one.
So he's the
What's his
promoter.
name? Chad. Who was the other fighter? The one that was injured. I think he was having trouble making weight.
Ortiz. Yeah, he's mismanaged those guys, and I know Ortiz has had a lot of different medical issues, but I think Oscar has mismanaged all of those. I mean, Mugia should have been much more developed and standing
Yeah.
boxing fans than he is. It's almost like he was in a wasteland.
Somebody said Rocha.
Rocha,
Rocha. Yeah.
Then you got Ryan, who really, he got a nice
That
thing.
Ryan is his cash cow, and you see how you did Ryan.
And he's mismanaged. I was about to just say that he's mismanaged Ryan. They should have been all the way behind Ryan, and particularly when he had his first loss, there should have been none of that, and that's just ruined that relationship as well. But you see what happened when Canelo. I mean, Oscar bragged about Canelo being his star, and he mismanaged that. So I feel for some of the fighters. I know why they might want to be with Golden Boy. It doesn't feel bad, but looking at what has happened and how things has gone, it's like, no, let me go there and see what Al's talking about. I mean, that's what I would be doing if I Golden Boy would not be my first stop if I was shopping for a promoter.
Right. All right, let's finish up this interview.
Yeah.
David Benavidez and his promoter are very good people.
I think it's more the dad, because David's been for the most part respectful, but Jose's trying to get the fight.
Well, and again, if that's their approach, I know firsthand. This is my thought process on that. Is that when you disrespect, you get no check. And I'm not saying that that's what happened, but
y'all know who he talking about. Y'all know who he talking about. Let me film and let him finish.
I know from my perspective, if I'm disrespectful, they're not eating at this table. If I got any say so about it, that's not gonna happen. It's just you gotta learn how to be respectful. We had to learn the hard way coming up, and I'll say this, Floyd's approach initially when he fought Oscar, it was a little different approach. And then we had a conversation, and he switched the approach up, and he got the fight.
How was the approach?
I don't want to go into details about what we do, but sometimes you just gotta, you gotta unleash all of that frustration and whatever when you get the fight. But if a guy at Canelo's level, he's at the highest level in boxing, you got to find a way to get him in the ring. Disrespecting him, if that happened, ain't nobody gonna put no pressure on him. He don't give a fuck thing, and I don't blame him. At the end of the day, here's a man that's made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, he's fought everybody. And to tap into his mindset maybe for a second without having a conversation with him, never had a conversation with him about any of this, is that at the end of the day, when you look at Benavidez, he kind of needs him and not the other way around. You know what I'm saying?
So Canelo wants, quote unquote, allegedly $200 million for the fight. So my question is to the chat: drop your 2 cents below. Is Canelo ducking? Because at first I was like, man, Canelo ducking, he ducking. Right? I kept saying that. And when I heard him say he wants 150 million or 200 million, that changed my perspective. I then started to feel like, well, maybe he's building the fight. Maybe he's letting these promoters know that if he do fight Benavidez, it's gonna have to be for a bag. Of course, nobody's gonna give him $200 million, but he's letting them know it's gonna be for a bag. But he just throwing it out there because either he's grossly outpricing himself and truly ducking Benavidez, or he's just building the fight and building more fan interest in the fight. What do you all think? Because, like Ellerby said, I don't think that Canelo is afraid of Benavidez, but I don't know how you can say Benavidez don't bring nothing in the table, and then in the same breath ask for $200 million to fight him. I think that's kind of odd. And if you go back and look on my page, I think I made a video, it might have been like 3 months ago, where I said Benavidez doesn't need Canelo. Benavidez does not need Canelo. If Canelo does not fight Benavidez, that is vindication of enough of who Benavidez is. And then I seen that Benavidez reached out to Turkey Al-Sheikh, and Turkey Al-Sheikh was like, no, how about you fight the winner of Bivol and who is Bivol fighting? Bivol and the other guy.
I think that's a unification fight for all four of the belts. I believe he's fighting I never say his name right. Beterbiev, I believe that's how you say it.
Beterbiev, yeah.
Yeah.
He said, how about you fight the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol? Now, if you think about that, I think that's at 175.
Yes.
And that would be a unification bout. And he'll be the man at 175. He would have went over to Saudi Arabia and got the big bag. And then that fight with him and Canelo, I don't know if people will still want to see it, but to me, that would show that Benavidez is bigger than Canelo at this point. And I said it months ago, Benavidez just needs to leave Canelo alone if he really doesn't want to fight him, because at this point, Benavidez has proved who he is. He's ran through the division. Of course, he couldn't get no belts because Canelo holding on to them all. And he can just move up to 175 and be the man at 175. He already has the name. So all his fan base is going to carry with him. And if Saudi is willing to give him an opportunity at those belts in that bag, and Canelo won't fight him, I believe that in itself will push him to stardom.
Well,
what y'all think, Jack?
If he gets the Saudi fight, he needs to get that. He needs to jump right on that if they're even talking about offering it to him. But I think Benavidez has been stuck on the fact that he never lost his belts in the ring. And he wants to try to get that back for some reason. You know, at one time it was the cocaine, and I think at one time it was weight, I believe.
Right.
That caused him the loss of his belts. So I think he's stuck on trying to regain them. And the only way he's going to be able to regain them, of course, now is if he fights Canelo, or they go to court and he forces, either they strip Canelo, I believe it's the WBO belt or the WBC belt. Not sure which one it is, because he's a mandatory for one of them. But that's a long, arduous process, and that's not guaranteeing no fight either.
Yeah, and he don't need to do that.
Yeah. Let's go over there. If they offering you the fight with the winner of Bivol Beterbiev, which is going to be for all four of the belts, if you fight whoever the winner is, you'll come back the light heavyweight champ. The opportunity probably will then exist much more if there's going to be a Canelo fight. And I think it still is, but I think waiting around for Canelo and saying, oh, I'll fight for free, you can have 95% of the purse. That's crazy talk in the first place. It's just
and that's the next thing I was going to say. He don't need to shoot himself in the foot trying to fight Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
He don't need to, I'll do a rehydration. Man, he don't need, me personally, I don't think he needs to do all that. And if he's taking less money, He's obviously not fighting Canelo for the quote unquote bag. So I'm not even sure what the obsession is with Canelo at this point.
Just wanting to get the belts back and fight Canelo, and it looks very desperate. And I think Canelo sees that. Looks incredibly desperate. And to me, Canelo talking about the 150 to 200, I actually believe that's Canelo just asserting his dominance. That he's the man. You do what I want you to do when I want you to do it. If you want to fight me, and I think that's kind of what's going on here. It's like, listen, I'm so big, I can ask for this kind of money. And I would be stunned if the Saudis say, yeah, we'll give you 200 million. But I understand why he would try to at least put it out there, because if they're not going to give him 200, they might give him 100 or 75. So you just never know how that's going to play out. But for Benavidez, man, if right now you done beat two of the guys that you had to beat at 168, just go ahead and see if you can get the fight at 175. Stop chasing Canelo, because everybody who's chased Canelo has always looked silly. Even when they showed up at the press conference trying to press Canelo at his press conference, Canelo just laughed at him. I mean, and it really looked bad. He wasn't like, say, when Tarver showed up, the press, Roy. Tarver knew how to talk, first of all. So Tarver could make a point, so to speak, with that generated interest, even though Tarver had just lost the fight. That's why he didn't get the fight with Roy before then. But Tarver knew how to make a scene. He knew how to make Roy feel a certain kind of way. Canelo is not like that, and neither was Andre, and neither is Benavidez. They don't make anything compelling. We know he's big. We know that. We know he can punch. We know he likes to inflict pain. But personality-wise, he just hasn't made it where Canelo is even remotely pressed or feel any kind of pressure. Yeah, he's getting a little bit of criticism, people calling him duck and all of that. And I get that too.
I mean, that don't even matter to Canelo.
Yeah.
Now Canelo,
Payday. You want payday? I know that.
yeah, Canelo is the one that wants the payday now.
Yeah.
But we about to have a little fun now. Like I said, this is 2 Cents Boxing. We talk everything boxing, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So I want to get y'all opinion about this. Clarissa Shields dropped a new song and a new music video. So we're gonna take a look at that right now, and I want you all to let me know in the chat: do she got bars, or does she need to be quiet? Here we go.
Yeah, big quote in this bitch. I just wanna know who wants to smoke in this bitch, huh? No joke, if I come with all my money on me, I'ma have to pull up in a boat to this bitch, okay? Now let me pop my shit. Don't watch me, nigga, watch my wrist. Went and got the rollie just to stop my ticks. Really getting paid a milli just to knock out chicks. I don't give a fuck if you like my fit. What I like giving up when I can fight, not quit. Never dwell on opportunities I might not get. Before you know it, I'll be on another flight by 6. I'm everywhere and you hardly there. If I don't defend it, it's too small to care. Wherever my friends is, then the party's there. And all my lenses is Cartier, yeah. When I pick up my buffs, I go to Hutch. And you know that the Gucci come in the clutch. Worldwide, everybody knowing me now. And nah, I don't want it if it's slowing me down. I got the nigga that she wanted and he blowing me down. He know I'm a star. Why you think he's showing me round? I went and got the marrow cause it's low to the ground. Cause they don't never see me coming, but they know from the sound. That is, yeah, big quote in this bitch. I just wanna know who wants to smoke in this bitch, huh? No joke, if I come with all my money on me, I'ma have to pull up in a boat to this bitch, okay? Now let me pop my shit. Don't watch me, nigga, watch my wrist. Went and got the rollie just to stop my ticks. Really getting paid a milli just to knock out chicks. Yeah, big quote in this bitch. I just wanna know who wants to smoke in this bitch, huh? No joke, if I come with all my money on me, I'ma have to pull up in a boat to this bitch, okay? Now let me pop my shit. Don't watch me, nigga, watch my wrist. Went and got the rollie just to stop my ticks. Really getting paid a milli just to knock out chicks.
Now let me know if y'all want me to run it back because I seen the beginning of the video was blocked. Y'all want me to run it back?
No.
Let me know if y'all want me to run it back.
No.
Why don't you own
Oh my
commercial
God.
hosting?
Okay,
Yes,
how about
you.
this? All right,
Oh my God.
all right. All right. So that was
Tusa,
Clarissa
when did she do this?
Shields' new song. What do y'all think? What do y'all rank Clarissa Shields on a scale of 1 to 10? Do she got bars or do she
One.
need to be quiet? I mean, she just getting
Be
started, you
quiet.
know. Mr. Gray said
No,
his vote
don't
is
get
to
started.
be
Stop.
quiet.
You
Listen,
need to
I'm not gonna
stop
lie to
right
y'all.
now.
I liked it. I liked it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I liked it. I liked it.
She need to stop.
She just started rapping, so you know,
Don't
rapping is a
don't
skill
rap
that you
no
can
more.
get better at.
Keep-
I did enjoy the video. I love how Clarissa Shields has switched her image up and she's super, super feminine now. Like I really like that. I think it was pretty good. Teach say he give it a 7. All things say he needs to think about it. Y'all want me to run it back? Press 1 if you want me to run it back.
That song to me was awful. Absolutely awful. I mean, but
Hey, listen, Mr. Gray, it's a whole lot better than these other rap songs out there. Trust
no,
that.
I've seen a lot of trash over time, but I won't say she's trash, but I say it's very pedestrian, and actually it's awful, but it's pedestrian as well, because I remember when Roy. You remember when Roy did his one song? Y'all
But
must have forgot.
that Roy Jones song is a classic though, Mr.
No,
Gray.
no, I liked it, and I was going to say Roy had good production people to help him get that song going, and they pushed the song a little bit. Roy went on a couple of promotional tours and so forth. So if Carissa has, I don't know what kind of people are around her outside of the boxing people, but Roy did have some music people around him. And I think if Carissa was going to go ahead and, do the rap thing and put out a tune and so forth, there should have been people that were in the music business that could have done this better for her. Even the video was kind of lame.
Yeah.
Everybody in the jewelry store now, with putting on their ice and putting on their Rolex or the Patek or whatever watch it is that you're going to show. So all of that is pedestrian. She should have done something a little bit. I mean, she's a boxer, of course, so she has to, play to her image. And
I
if
don't
she's
think she's
trying to
trying
be
to.
feminine, and that's a big question mark with me as well. I know I'm not going to badmouth her, but she got a whole lot of work to do on that
Well, I
part.
mean, she just wearing more makeup, getting her hair, getting her wigs done and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, as a female athlete, I've been an athlete my whole life. You really don't necessarily have an opportunity to do that because you're working out all the time.
Right,
So
right.
you can't be in wigs and makeup and all of that because you got to work out all the time. But I think she's just doing it for fun. It's always fun to hop in the studio. It's always fun to try to shoot a music video. I don't think she's trying to get a record deal. But I did hear Ryan's song, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I kind of like Ryan's song, and I heard he was getting a deal with Universal. So Ryan might be on to something. The Globe might be on to something. Let's see what some of the comments say. Dragon Assassin say her flow pattern was okay, but lyrically not the best. But she wasn't the worst. And she is way better than Ryan. All things say 5.25 because she the Globe. Rick Tim say she need to change her hook because she not knocking out any chicks. 2 knockout wins. Song, all right, she's still the Globe. Absolutely. And I'm gonna make a compilation one day because it's something with boxers and them wanting to rap. I got Danny Garcia rapping. I got Adrian Broner rapping. It seems like this is what these boxers like to do in their free time. 6 drop rapping and MMA stick to boxing. Oh, come on.
Yes, Yes.
She's
You're
doing
right.
good at MMA. She is learning professional combat. I mean, she is learning a combat sport at a professional level. That's very tough to do. So I'm surprised she took on that challenge. She said, "Please don't make me ears."
Oh man.
Yeah. Let's see. All things say not that bad for her first song. This not her. This not her first song. All things. I'm only playing it now because she's gotten better. Now her first songs I heard was like,
Oh, she was worse than that.
yes, yes. She's gotten better. So now
Oh my God.
getting other people 2 cents about it.
If she was worse than what I just heard, because I didn't know she had done a one before, that must have really been awful.
So chat, bars or be quiet. What y'all think? Bars or be quiet. So moving on to the next topic, I just want to have some fun with y'all real quick.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about Earl the Truth Spence Jr. He has been coming up a lot in the news lately. And Earl the Truth Spence Jr. has refused Keith Thurman again. Now, what I want to know from y'all is he standing on business or is he just being plain stupid at this point? Is Earl Spence standing on business or is he being stupid? Now, I know he professed he would never ever fight Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman didn't give him a shot when he was coming up and all of these things. And I feel like at 147, when he had the belts, that was more understandable. But I think after all he's been through, all the medical issues, getting your ass whooped by Terrence Crawford, people questioning your ability to still be able to fight, I don't know why he wouldn't fight Keith Thurman, to be honest with you. Besides the fact that he said, "Oh, I would never fight Keith Thurman," and I get it. You know, Earl, to his detriment, is a man of his word. He's gonna do what he say he gonna do. But why won't you fight Keith Thurman, Earl? Like both of y'all up there, both of y'all been inactive, both of y'all injury prone. It's a fight people still want to see for some reason. And it's a fight that'll probably do some decent numbers and y'all can make some decent money. It don't have to be for no belt. Neither one of y'all have any belts at 154, so there's nothing on the line. I don't know why you won't fight Keith Thurman, Earl.
I
But
think it's
I
personal.
just want to get y'all 2 cents, chat. Let me know what you all think. Is Earl Spence standing on business or is he stupid? And why do y'all think that?
I think it's personal. From my point of view, I think it. I don't think it has anything to do with business or being stupid. I just think there's something personally between the two of them that is preventing that fight from happening. Who it is, I don't know. I'm guessing. So that's just I guess that's my 2 cents as well. But I think it's a personal feeling that he has that he just will not fight Keith. Now, how did Keith act behind the scenes when he had the belts and he wouldn't fight Earl? Could have played a role too. We saw what was happening up front, but what was happening behind the scenes? How was Keith acting then? How was he talking to Earl in a way that would have said, "Listen, I'm not ready to fight you," or like, "I ain't never giving you no fight." It could have been some stuff like that. I remember when now Gary referenced another old fight. Um, Oscar when he fought oh god damn, I can't think. Excuse me for cussing, I'm sorry. He was getting ready to fight at 154. I can't think of his name, it'll come to me, but he had refused to fight. Oscar had refused to fight this particular why can't I think of his name?
Who, Oscar?
Yeah, they used to he fought Winky White and he beat Winky, but it was a controversial win. Why can I think of his name? And I used me referring that then because I can't think of the name. But I just noticed sometimes those fights between guys, beasts between them become so personal that those fights don't happen. And look what happened with Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe. Their beef was so personal, they never fought other than in the Olympics. So sometimes that just happens.
It just happens. Well,
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
let's see what the chat got to say. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get it. And at this point, you know, Earl's temperament and how stubborn he is. Somebody say EJ gonna make a song too. Watch. I doubt it. I doubt it.
Oh man.
Let's see. It say EJ stick to his word. He's not fighting Keith. Yeah, he's not fighting Keith. So speaking of EJ, what do you all think about the rumors about him leaving Derrick James? I just want to, and this is the last topic we got of the night. I'm gonna drop the link if anybody want to come up here and hop on the panel for a few minutes. We could do that. But I just want to give my 2 cents about that real quick. Now, it's a lot of people saying, first of all, Errol Spence put the tweet out that he got to find a new home. And some people was like, why are you leaving PBC? And he said no. And then people start asking him, is he leaving Derrick James? And he didn't say anything. So obviously he wants people to speculate and talk about this. So I'm going to speculate and talk about it. And the cryptic tweeting, like, I don't know. I guess it's cool to get people talking, but I'm like, dude, just say what you're saying. Like, why we got to talk in riddles? But I don't know. I don't know if I will feel like Errol Spence is leaving Derrick James because, first of all, let me say that fighters get new trainers all the time. So if Earl is leaving Derrick James, I mean, fighters get new trainers all the time. I guess what makes this situation more unique is that he's been with Derrick James since he was like, 15, 16 years old. So it would kind of be a big change for him, I feel like, for him to leave Derrick James and get a whole new trainer. This is basically the tail end of his career. And we see what that's doing for Wilder. I personally don't think Malik Scott is that great for Wilder because it seems like he's trying to completely change the way he fights instead of capitalizing and just showing him how to set up the right hand more versus trying to make him fight off the back foot and be a boxer and all of that. Like, that's not Deontay Wilder, but I digress. So a lot of people were saying that all of the paraphernalia in the gym that Derrick James and Errol Spence used to work out of, like the punching bags and his pictures on the wall and all of that stuff has been taken down. And that stuff is no longer there. And then he put up that he got to find a new home. So when I heard that, I was thinking maybe he's getting his own gym. Maybe he's not necessarily leaving Derrick James. Maybe he's possibly purchased his own gym and he's going to put his own stuff with his name on it in his own gym. And maybe Derrick James is going to train him out of his own gym because Errol Spence does have fighters now. He is a promoter. And that could be a thing. And some people, I've heard people say, well, it's some people that really do have a problem with Derrick James that's in Errol Spence's camp. And they don't, I guess, quote unquote, like Derrick James. So he probably could be leaving Derrick James. But I don't know if it would be beneficial. Like, if you go back and watch Derrick James fight, anybody has ever seen Derrick James fight, put a one in the chat if you ever seen Derrick James fight. Spence fights exactly like Derrick James. Like, he poured his style into Errol Spence. He taught him that. Like, the way he fights is literally the style of Derrick James. So I don't know. Maybe he could be getting a new trainer. And if he is getting a new trainer, I don't want that to be a knock on Derrick James. I feel like people are so hard on Derrick James. Like, he just didn't have champions. He wasn't training champions. And he just had a rough year. And like I said, PBC got these fighters getting their big opportunities, but not in good timing. Like, yeah, you get your opportunity for the biggest bag, but you're not in the best position to win. And I don't like that. I really do not like that. That's my biggest complaint about the PBC. And the biggest thing that I don't like about the PBC is that their fighters seem to not be in the best position when their best opportunity comes along. Now, I don't know if that's PBC fault. I don't know if that's the fighter fault. I don't know if that's a mixture of both. But how do you all feel? What do you all think if Errol Spence leaves Derrick James? And we got to think, like, we got to be honest, Errol Spence is really on the tail end of his career. I do have to see him fight again to see you know, if he gonna be able to compete a couple more years or whatever. But even with the Espinosa interview I just watched about the rematch, I would play that for y'all, but I think I'm gonna save it for another video. Maybe I'll do it next week. That it was Earl's eye surgery and some other medical things that Earl had going on, which is the reason why the rematch didn't take place. It didn't have nothing to do with anybody feeling like they scared or this or that or whatever, you know, all the stuff we've been going back and forth about. But I don't know. I can't say if it's good or bad if he leaves Derrick James. Part of me might be like, that might be a mistake because, you know, Derrick James. Hold on, y'all got to plug in my computer. Derrick James and been there with you for your whole career. I'm talking about amateur career, professional career, everything. So, and especially with how Earl is, how I guess kind of stubborn he is, and how he doesn't listen. Like, how would that fare with another trainer? All things say that's crazy. And did you hear the rumor of Coach Calvin possibly training him if he does? I mean, Coach Calvin and Derrick James have a pretty good relationship, so maybe that'll work. You know what I'm saying? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But Errol Spence has left Derrick James about 3 times since the Terrence Crawford fight. So nothing's been verified. We don't know anything yet. My 2 cents, I think it's a strong possibility maybe Earl is getting his own gym, and that's why all his equipment and stuff is taken down. I don't know. But I'm interested to see how it unfolds and what happens. I'm interested to see who Earl fights next. He came out and he dropped the news about what was going on with him, and then he went back radio silent. We haven't heard anything else from Earl. So, what y'all think, chat? What y'all got for me?
Listen, it's real late in the game to be changing trainers now. Real late, particularly for Earl. He may be trying to get a new gym. I don't think he's leaving Derrick, particularly when Derrick has his full imprint on him, which is to me was a problem in the first place because Earl, I believe, has talents is a talent that's not as developed as he should be because he has one particular style that's been imprinted on him, and that should not have happened. He should have had some other. Even if he never left Derrick, there should have been other people come in to add some more dimensions to him that he would have picked up very quickly because I believe he has the attributes to have, to be that type of fighter. But now he is who he is. And leaving somebody who's been with him since he was in the as an amateur, when he was a kid, he's not going to listen. I don't think he's going to really quickly listen to a new person. They don't know how he thinks. They don't know what he's been.
That was my biggest thing. Like Earl seems like, and then I heard them say, oh well, Errol Spence and Derrick James have only talked twice since the Crawford fight. And I heard Derrick James in an interview. Said that Errol Spence had came to his house and they sat down and talked. And he was like, "That's the second time Earl has ever even been to my house." And so to me, Earl doesn't seem like, even with Blu-ray, they was asking Blu-ray, well, why aren't you working with Errol Spence no more? He like, man, I don't know. We just stopped working together. He ain't say nothing. They like, well, are y'all still cool? He was like, oh yeah, I was just at his house the other day watching the game. So to me, Earl doesn't seem like the type to just really sit you down and talk about why this ain't gonna work or nothing like that. It seems like he just move on. And it is what it is, and there's no hard feelings, and he's still cool with everybody. So who's to say Derrick James even know Errol Spence about to leave him? But he just comes off as he seems like a weird guy, to be honest with you.
Yeah. From what I've seen, and there's no knock on him, but this is the thing about social media and the internet and how you can just put certain images to disseminate to people, or you can take bits and pieces of what somebody says, or you can create rumors based on what it looks like in any given situation, and then put it out there. And of course, thousands of people, millions of people are on the internet. So you come on a platform, and you don't hear a full conversation about something. You just get a clip, and it's always the controversial part of the clip, or it gives you a different perspective, or you hear something like the situation with Earl that he's supposed to be leaving Derek James, and it turns out that maybe they're moving to another gym, or maybe he's built his own gym. I mean, you just never know until the person who the rumor is about comes out and tells you everything. And Earl still hasn't told you everything about anything.
You're right.
So that's just who he is. But that's what we deal with today. A lot of rumors and speculations because we get to look behind the curtain to see a little bit of what's going on behind the curtain. But we don't get the full story on anything until something actually happens.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great for me as a content creator.
Well, yeah, that's good for you. Yeah.
But I just dropped the link in the chat. That's all the topics I have for tonight. If anybody wants to hop up here real quick and give their 2 cents.
Just looking at Earl's trunks. So OnlyFans is sponsoring Earl.
OnlyFans sponsor a lot of fights.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I see other when you're scrolling or whatever, and I see a lot of these panels of men and women and all the issues they got with each other. But it's one particular show where there's always only fangirls on one side.
argue with the guys.
Yeah, and then on the other side, there's guys who are actually, for the most part, telling them they ain't ish.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why they insist on trying to argue with women that do OnlyFans. Like,
I don't like those shows because it gets nowhere. All you have is people going at each other. Even if you're doing it in an intelligent way, there's no meeting of the minds. There's nobody's understanding. Everybody just reacting. Everybody's saying something slick to the other, or putting the other person, usually the OnlyFans girls, down. But most of them
gets views.
Yeah, it gets views, but I've never seen so many women who don't know how to respond in a way. I mean, if you're gonna come on anybody's show, you know what the show is about, and you know who you are. The way that they present themselves or explain themselves is, y'all need some training. Y'all need somebody helping you all.
Well, they OnlyFans models, Greg.
Yeah. That's crazy. But let me ask you something too. You told me your background music was done by Supreme L. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. That's
got some old school jazz back there. You might be sitting at home with your little glass of wine, watching some.
Yeah,
got your.
That's exactly what it is. I actually haven't even talked to Supreme. I haven't seen him on the internet or nothing. I need to check on him and see if he's okay.
Yeah, is Ross okay, by the way?
I haven't spoken to Ross, but his dad died, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
He's been, dealing with that. He had some struggles with that, and they terminated his channel. So
they terminated the entire channel. I just thought he was suspended.
No, I think he might be working to get it back. I'm not sure. I know he's dealing with his dad.
Yeah. Well, if you get a chance to speak with him, I did have his number at one time, but if you get a chance to speak to him, please send my condolences because that also happened to Band Up as well.
Oh no, I didn't know. What was
Band Up lost his father. I think it's about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I hadn't. I don't know. It seemed like Marty stopped going live or something, or maybe he stopped having the panel. So I hadn't even.
Marty hadn't had a lot of panels until I think yesterday, and no, not yesterday, Friday, and I know Band Up had come on. It wasn't a panel, it was just in the chat, but he had said that he was going through some things because he lost his dad, and I think. A lot of times when we're talking about stuff and then we try to talk to each other in the chat at the same time, sometimes you miss what somebody is
Missed
saying.
stuff. Yeah. Because sometimes I don't be paying. I'm doing other stuff and just listening or something like that.
But yeah, definitely. If you talk to him before I get it, I don't even know how I'll talk to him because I don't have his number. But definitely send my condolences to him. Because y'all have to face those things, unfortunately. But I didn't know that. How long has OnlyFans been sponsoring Earl?
I don't know. I don't know if this is the first fight he had it on his trunk. This was the Ugas fight.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess.
I don't think he had it for the. He did not have it for the quarter fight. I don't believe. So it probably was the Ugas fight, and I don't know if he had it on there for the Crawford fight.
Now, isn't Frank Martin one of Crawford's fighters? I'm sorry, one of Spence fighters.
Yes, I don't know who else is a Spence fighter, but for sure Frank Martin is one of Spence fighters.
Okay.
And I cannot wait to see that fight.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a good fight. I don't see Frank Martin beating. I just don't think he have the experience to beat Tank. Like, he doesn't have the experience to beat Tank, in my opinion. He's definitely athletic enough, quick enough, and powerful enough, but I'm not sure if he's experienced or skilled enough to beat Tank. I think he's skilled enough and athletic enough to make it a decent fight, a competitive fight, but I don't see him beating Tank.
But see, this goes back to something that we touched on before, and you even said something about it earlier. For some PBC fighters don't stay active enough, even the top ones. And that's why every time a major fight has happened for them that's kind of outside of the PBC control, like with Wilder, with Spence, with Schoolboy stuff, every time those type of fights come up, they always lose. And part of that is because you have to stay active. And if the top guys aren't being active, the guys that are B level or trying to go up to A, or C level trying to come up to B, they're not active either. So nobody is staying as sharp as they should be, learning their body a little bit more so you can avoid some of the injuries that you get, because Thurman's a good example.
Thurman turned down a lot of fights.
Right. But I'm just saying, being inactive and then you're going to try to do that kind of training,
right,
for a major fight, and you're going up in weight, and you're older now.
Yeah.
So your body is not fully acclimated to, and I think I said this earlier, the last time Thurman fought was the loss to Pacquiao?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went through that was a good fight.
That was a long time ago. That was so long ago.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying, man.
No. He fought Mario Barrios.
Okay. But I know he's still been out for quite some time. And now you're trying to do this. You can't do that and be successful continuously fighting like that. Especially the way fighters are now. Fighters, believe it or not, when they do train, they're better training methods. It's better nutrition methods, as we've been debating about.
It has to be as you get older too. You definitely can't.
Yeah, and you're older. So now you got, that's the thing that happens with PBC fighters. So it's always interesting what the final outcome is going to be when you got guys who ain't been in the ring for 18 months, almost 2 years, and you don't see the very best of them. And I think a lot of times they don't really get to be what they could be because of the long periods of time that are outside of the ring.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody want to get some money, and they want to get as much money as possible. And I get that. You're taking
Supreme L in the building.
Yes.
What's going on? Supreme, I just brought your name up, man. Greetings, sis. What's going on? He said, greetings, Mr. G.
I'm doing pretty good, man. I just asked about. I love this whole soundtrack. Y'all might make me go there and go to my bar and get some.
Oh yeah, check out his YouTube page. Let me see if I can drop the link in the chat.
Yeah, drop the link and I'll make sure I try to go, because I know he said he had one. I just never got around to getting to it.
But I've been up here about an hour and a half. I'm about to hop off. I appreciate everybody for coming on and joining me today. Listen, I'm going to be live every Sunday. I haven't locked down the time yet, but I do like the late night, to be honest with y'all. But what y'all think? Y'all like the late night boxing talk on a Sunday night, or is it too late for y'all? Let me know and drop it below what y'all think.
Like
all right, here's the link to Supreme L. If y'all like that song, I'll be playing on my intro, my outro. Y'all can go find some more music from Supreme L. You got some great music on this YouTube page. Please go and check it out. Supreme, everybody love this song.
Yeah.
You say you've been giving classes and working? Yeah, I know that's right. Well, Supreme, look, I'm live every Sunday. Hopefully you can catch me earlier next time. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Mr. Greg, thanks for coming up here, co-hosting with me today. I truly appreciate it. It's always better when I got somebody up here to bounce back and forth with.
Where's Asante L, as a matter of fact? I haven't seen him over here.
I've been seeing Asante L sometimes. He be in Marty chat, or he be in...
Yeah, I take that back. I have seen him in Marty's chat. Because he's supposed to be getting a site set up too as well, isn't he?
He said he's supposed to. I don't know if he started it yet, and I'm gonna ask him next time I see him. Okay.
Oh, I don't see Supreme's link. So what's the name of his channel?
It's just Supreme L. It says Supreme L 555. I just dropped it in the chat.
Okay, I'll find it because I like this song. Do you know what the name of the song is?
It's called, let me find it. Melodic Intertwined. Melodic Intertwined.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thanks for coming up, Mr. Greg. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come on and chat with you. I always enjoy you. Like I said, I'm gonna try to support you as much as possible.
Absolutely. I'll be back next Sunday, so y'all can meet me here back next Sunday. I can't say same time, but definitely same place. I want to thank everybody for coming through, dropping their 2 cents in the comments. Let's see. We got Teach, Dragon Assassin, Mark Q, All Things, Teach, Rick Timms, PGH Big Dog. Who else we had come through today? Go Hard Boxing, Supreme L, Noble Young, Dragon Assassin, Ymir Velez, Realistic Washington Fan, Mr. Greg, of course. I appreciate all of y'all for stopping by. Ariana, she was in the building. Skills from New Orleans was in the building. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. I appreciate everybody that's liked and subscribed to my channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I just appreciate you for stopping by and listening and sharing your time with me. I'm Jay, and stay tuned for my 2 cents in the next video.